So the appropriate epiphanies have been had, decisions have been made, and we're building a Quamtent. Here's the scoop. If you remember the debate I was having, it's that this frame could be compromised. It's got a lot of questionable, come on, focus. It's got a lot of questionable little bits. And I like the history and usage that it has. The debate was whether I paint this frame or leave it as is. The concern is that if I paint it, I'd strip it and try and do a good job, and I might discover something that I don't want to discover. You know, we used to crack these frames all the time. I'm scared of finding a little crack somewhere or something. And then I'd have my work cut out for me trying to fix it, and I'd have taken away the history that it has with this paint job. And then that decision got made when I went home and toyed around with some parts. I took a Chris King headset and went to just mock up, and I was able to do this. If I can hand press a headset into the frame, I don't want to risk painting it, taking away the paint job that it has, just because it has history. It's not like it's a good paint job. And then to find out that it is unrideable, and then it's a wall hanger, but I took away the history it has. So, building it up as is, which means it gets built pretty quick. So the frame came from TJ Perry. I probably bought it off him in like 2005 would be my guess. Man, that's over 20 years ago. First part going in, blue Chris King headset. I think this headset came from Rick Goulart, Flatlander over in Rhode Island. Appreciate you, bro. This whole bike is gonna have a lot of history in it. And the reason I brought this portion to the shop was to hammer on the crown race to the next part. Standard fork. I bought this thing, probably 2002 would be my guess. And I was ordering from Dance Competition, and I wanted a S&M pitchfork with 990 mounts. And I ordered one, and they sent me one without 990 mounts. We fixed that, and I ordered another one, and they sent me another one without 990 mounts. And then third time's a charm. Sorry, we don't have it. Here's a standard fork. Oh, he has receipts. October 12th, S&M pitchfork, intended to have 990 mounts. Nope. Now we're in November 24th, S&M pitchfork, Scream 3 DVD, trying to butter me up for their misdoings. But they got it wrong again, shipping back forks, a big back and forth, and then end of November, standard fork. They just gave in and gave me the pitchfork price. So the condition, solid, just a little peely, but in my opinion, it's perfect for this frame, so they're going together. Now some people put their Chris King headsets in upside down. King logo in front, right side up. The fact that I'm pressing it in by hand really breaking my heart here. Next bit's going on, and the origin stories are not over yet. A couple of oil slick spacers left at my house by professional flatlander and all-around legend Stephen Hearn. You may have heard of him. Stem. Y'all may not have seen a stem like this in a hot minute. And this is a rare breed, something like this, that's 1.1 inch, but this was definitely of the era of quill stems. 2 hip. And I'm putting this stem on this bike for a very special reason, and that reason will be revealed when we put the handlebars on. But for now, no play. That's a good sign, because if anything's gonna have play, it's gonna be the cups in this frame. We'll eyeball it straight for now, doesn't really matter. How many of y'all have stems with some of this damage on it? Something about short handlebars, short stems back in the day, backwards hitchhikers. One more task. Odyssey bottom bracket from my stash. Kept it since back in the day. I don't know if the bearings are good. Yeah, they're all right. That one's worse, but doesn't matter. We're hanging parts. Spindle, spacer. She's just a little crusty. So what is going on here is, this is just a bunch of stuff that I hung on to since back in the day. I'm doing a little bit of collecting, but a lot of this is just, I saved some stuff. If I've got a bunch of bike parts that I'm keeping for nostalgic purposes, might as well hang them all on each other, make a bike out of it, even if it's just to look at. And I don't know about you, but this thing is, I'm going for ugly but cohesive. And I think once you see it all put together, it's gonna make a lot of sense. The cool thing is, it's gonna come together pretty quick. I believe I have all the parts I need. And since I don't have to refinish or refurbish anything, it's gonna be a slap job. Oh yeah. Goal today was to make it a frame set. There we are. Let's get the rest of these parts installed, huh? All right, we're back at the lab, and in order to continue the build, we need to get it in the stand. And to get it in the stand, we're gonna apply some parts: seat post, clamp, seat. I'm gonna show you those right here. The clamp fit in the blue theme. This is something I bought because I think it was like cheap on Flatland Fuel or something like that on sale. Didn't have a use for it per se. It's super thin, super light, so it almost sketches me out, but not really. It's animal. Seat. Grew up with this thing. Either this was mine, or I definitely know it was my buddy Eric Cleese, because it's all drilled out. He definitely did that. It is busting through on the rails, but I'm just gonna run it because kind of fits the theme. It's available for the build. And last but not least, anyone seen one of these? This is a rare item. Quamtent. A fixed aluminum gut seat post. I think the angle was fine. I don't recall noticing that. What did suck is that no matter how tight you get that bolt, it always kind of shifted on the post itself. I painted it white. I had it on a Delta or something like that back in the day. And it's going on the Quamtent build. I'm just gonna slap them on in my own time, and then I'll show you the result. So I got it installed, and even when getting it in, shifting it down to put it in the frame, it shifted on the post. So that's the height. It's set. Seat is definitely bent too, but that's fine. Got it out on the porch, and I'm gonna get the bars installed, and then I'm gonna tell you all about them. So let's do that right now. There they are. I call these the Rigid Cycles Denver bars because I got them from Denver, Llewellyn, and it's a long story that I'm gonna tell you. The story of the handlebars starts right here. There's Davey D, young buck, 1998, just got a dyno comp. So just got a bike, June 1998, and start riding, doing my thing, riding everything, you know. And my parents, cool as they are, sent me to Woodward. Actually went twice, I think in 99 and 2000. So 1999, I go, and one of my instructors is Denver Llewellyn, right here. You can't see it because the pictures are terrible, but he's riding those handlebars in the barn gym. There's Jason Kale, he was my other instructor. And Denver had those bars. and I thought they were the coolest things ever. Of course, 8-piece bars were the sickest things, and there was either like poverty bars at the time, you know, or graveyards, which were 110 bucks, and that's expensive, or was expensive back then for a kid. So I saw these bars and I lusted after them, and I said, hey Denver, if you ever get rid of those handlebars, just let me know. If you ever, you know, just whatever, just give me first crack. I'm you know, 12, 13-year-old kid or whatever. I want those bars one day, you know? And he says, okay. And we exchanged addresses, and I was getting form letters from him and stuff like that. He would write friends and family and update them about his life. So, continue on. I start riding, keep riding. New bikes, different things. I'm on an Ultra. That was like my first complete bike that I saved up and got. Built from Dan's Comp. Messing with parts, changing things around. And then I built up a Quamtent. Heck yeah, right? Look at that. The coolest stuff. And got TI bars and was doing that whole thing. January 2001. Then one day in the mail, these bad boys show up. I took a photo of them, and they came with a letter that I saved. You can look at it here, pause it if you want to read it. The gist of which, cleaning up my room, saw these bars, know you wanted them, thought of you, sent them to you. Send me money if and when you get the chance. Oh, pretty cool. July 6th, 2001, there you go. And so yeah, he asked for 65 bucks, send it to him when I get a chance, because I didn't know. They just showed up in the mail one day, and they sure did. And I made the switch, and one of the things about them is that the bar clamp tube was super narrow, and I actually filed out my macross. I like ground out the edges to be able to clear the welds. But I asked him, because here it is me running it, and I asked him what he did to make it fit, and he said there's a 2-hip stem that that does the trick. And I think, yeah, maybe it was Quill, but whatever. And it was, you know, this was 2001, so that stem's like heck old school. And there you can see I'm riding the bars. I got a We the People pony, but I kept, you know, that's that stem, and that's those bars. So I rode that stuff for a while. That's the bars there. That's them there, squeaker bar flips, oh yeah. And so on. We don't have to continue down that road, but that's the story of the bars. So they just showed up in the mail one day, couldn't believe it, and kept them to this day. All right, while I was in there yammering your ear off about handlebars, I was out here installing some cranks. Those bearings are crunchy. Remember I said that they were a little toasty, and installed, ooh-wee. It's what we call indexed, baby. But that's fine. So these crank arms are from Alfred Lerma, North Bay rider, and OG. He hooked me up with those because we trade parts and doing stuff sometimes. I ordered the spindle off of Flatland Fuel, and this profile chainring was given to me by my buddy Jay because it's spline drive and it wasn't working with what he was doing. And I'll tell you what, it's working with what I'm doing. So let's keep going. Pedals. I'm going with a set of the OGs, Primo tenderizers. Love it. So let's get them installed. There, how about that? Installed. I also popped on some grips. Primo Chad de Groots. A little sexy lady on them. I think the grips and the pedals came off of a bike that I got through my old bike shop. Working there, some Hoffman came in, like a street bike, which I still have, and you'll see that's where those came from. Geez, starting to look like a bike, huh? Thicky. And we have wheels. If you saw the video on the Hoffman George, I just had to go procure these from another one of my bikes, but this is the wheel set that's going on this tank of a Quamtent. Alex Super E Pros. Triple wall. Super tank goodness. And this front one is on a bit of a bubbly poverty hub. So that's the front wheel. Rear wheel, same rim. This is heavy. Little Primo Venus chain tensioner hanging off of a Nankai Techno free coaster. This was a street wheel set that I laced this hub into a while ago. Now it's going on this bike. No bike is complete without tires. Got a Primo wall here. 2.1. Big old fatty. That's going on the front. Primo the wall in blue. This one is new. I bought the wheel set from some dude in town who just happened to have bike parts. I think the hub came from a wheel that had belonged to Stephen Hearn, and then the front tire I bought when I was searching for walls, and I got it from Shad Johnston at a shop up in Oregon. And the rear tire I bought, it was some of the remaining new stock from some shop. I have their card somewhere, but some internet shop with the last of some walls, and this is one of them. So I'm gonna slap these on the bike and show you a couple other little bits and bobs. I was curious if it would be super difficult to mount Primo walls on Alex Super E rims, but I think it was just being a inexperienced kid. I have to use this travel pump to get air in these 48 spoke wheels because the pump head of my nice pump doesn't fit between 48 spokes. Isn't that wild? Let's slap these mamma jammas on a bike. All right, we're back outside with the bike. We've got our gorgeous wheel set here. Alex Super Ease. Poverty. Nankai Techno. Primo wall. And cat. Let's get them mounted up, and I'm gonna put them on and show you the pegs once it's installed. As a neat note, since they'll disappear once I'm done, rear pegs require 14 mil to 3/8 adapters, and the front wheel requires washers or the pegs hit the welds of the fork dropouts. Damn. Primo tube steaks, baby. Doesn't that look good? Doesn't that fit the theme? Doesn't that scream early 2000s flatland bike? I think so. I know so. A lot happened between clips. Ditched the Primo Venus. Chainline was brutal, and it didn't work back here. Can't get the wheel more forward because the dropouts are still crushed, and this tube is flat. I'm gonna push on for now. A couple other details. You're probably sitting on the toilet thinking, Dave, did you scotch those grips in a little bit? Maybe to accommodate for bar ends? We're gonna do Cam Acura stainless steel bar ends, ground down by me in the early 2000s. And I just happen to have one blue and one black valve cap. Or I have tons of black ones, but one blue one. So one blue cap, one black, going on. So I happen to have enough oil slick chain to get a chain on here. It's probably been ridden by Stephen Hearn, so it's probably pretty thrashed, but this is just for decoration. And then, oh, just barely almost rubs the frame there. Quamtent problems. But we'll dial it in. I'll put a spacer there when I change the flat, but otherwise, we'll take her out and get a good look at her once I cinch up these odds and ends. A couple of changes I wanted to cover. Different grips. These are ODI long necks that I just pulled off of another bike I just got that is gonna be in a future video. You're just gonna have to wait on that. Brake lever, Tech 77, and the matching Odyssey Evo 2 came off of a bike that I bought off my buddy Eric Klee. Piece of purple housing that he had used, conjoined up inside to the blue housing, because blue with the blue, the purple goes. Got those clear pads. Blue cable end, it's looking fresh, feels real smooth. The guide they gave worked out perfect. And it's a bit of a big loop here and here for my taste, but this is a cruiser. I'll take the smooth braking. I also, Primo rod, a little more fitting, a little heavier for the tank. The spacers I used to space out the front pegs to clear those welds are from the Hoffman George. And I did have to get clever back here. So I have like an adapter there for this peg for the 14 mil. I'm just not gonna stand over here. Again, it's a cruiser. And I have an adapter in there too. And I still have to work on the spacing for the drive line, but maybe I just don't. Wait, pick up the bike.
Oh my god.
Don't hurt your back.
Oh my god. That's unreal. You want help?
Yeah, right.
Whoop. It's broken.
Broken. Doesn't matter if it's straight or not.
We're not just
True.
for science.
True.
Just for science. Okay. Alright.
That's not bad.
I've seen heavier. Oh, dude. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right?
Fuck yeah.
What else strikes you as fucking awesome?
That. This.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
this. Alex Ram Super Pro. Quando hubs. What are those?
Nankai Poverty.
Free coaster.
And I used my little connector piece for
Yeah,
the
like
nostalgia
blue,
housing.
Blue, purple.
Purple for Eric Lee, rest in peace.
Oh, fucking dial.
I did a little, it's a little loopy for my taste for riding, but I went for straight travel.
Ah, yeah, that's fucking nice.
It's so heavy that it doesn't spin all the way.
Oh, but once you get it going,
Oh yeah.
this is cool.
Yeah, it is.
Gnarly.
Oh yeah. I'm at the spot. It's super windy. I'm gonna try and ride this tank. I changed the Tech 77 to a more beat up one off a bike I just got. You'll see. I'm not gonna explain that right now. Also the brake. Check out this guy. It's just a little more period correct than the Odyssey. And look at how it works. You kind of tighten the bolt wherever and set the tension, and it's like an upside down V brake. Alright, I just have to film an outro. Figured we might as well do it looking at this thing. Rode fine, it's heavy. The biggest things to overcome are fork offset, the low handlebars, and just the weight in general. But you could get used to anything, so it could be rideable. We used to ride this. This is stuff I used to ride. So it's probably gonna hang on the wall for now. I might unbuild it if I need any of the parts. But otherwise, just a cool thing to look at. A whole lot of nostalgia packed into one cool looking thing. Hey, Chips. So there you go. More bikes coming, more stuff coming, more riding coming. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate all of you, so thank you.